Hello, welcome back. Today we'll be adding a composite item that consists of an item that has either that is sold in pieces, in bundle, or in bags or half bags. So we're going to show you how to do that. Let's start. I'm going to do it in two ways. Let's start the first process. The first way. We're starting with adding item. So you're going to click this add item here. So let's click the add item. So once we have this add item, we will start the one piece of the product. We're using a wine seller. So let's say a wine. So some wine are sold in carton and half carton and also pieces. So let's sell the first piece. Let's start with standard item. So the first piece is going to be in standard item before we now go to bundle, which is the composite item. So let's start with the standard item first. So we go to the click on standard item, and then we'll now click on wine, and we'll now name it wine. Okay, or we can give the name of the wine as let's say Toma wine, Toma, or Toma Toma. This is just a sample. So here under the Toma wine, we don't have it here. So let's create a category wine and gin. So any gin here, we're going to name it. We're going to be putting them under this category. So wine and gin. Then under here we can have the branches. Then it is sold in bottles, so we'll call it bottle, which is BTL. So let's say Toma Toma is sold, one bottle is 5,000 naira. And let's say the cost price is optional too. And all these ones are also optional. So let's put 5,000 naira. Then here, let's use it as maybe 3,000 naira. Let's say the cost price, it costs 3,000 to buy it. So under supplier, we can skip it because it's also optional. So let's on our track inventory so that we make sure that these things are in order. So let's say we have about how many pieces. So if we have about 10 carton and 10 carton is 12 inside, it will now be 120 pieces of this. So whenever it goes down to uh, 24, which is 2 carton, let it give us an alert. So you see, we graduated the carton amount into pieces. So we is the pieces that we use for stocking. So let's start with this. Then we'll click create item. So now as a standard item, we now have Toma and it's 120 in stock. So now let's go ahead and create another item. So let's click on this create again so that we can now create a bundle. So let's click on this bundle. So this is the bundle that we're going to create now, which is the same thing as composite items. So when we click on this bundle item, we can now call the name of the item. Let's call it half carton. Let's call it half carton. If you don't want to even put it as half carton, you can also allow your carton to be divided by two so that you don't have to you don't have to go in this way. But let's just go ahead with the half carton. Later I will show you how you can also leave the carton. So we're going to leave it as half carton, and then here we have we call it, it's under wine and gin. So sorry, we'll call it half carton tomato maba, half carton of toma. So let's call it half carton of toma wine. Should we write this? Okay, let's write it. Half carton of toma wine. So let's go to bottle. So we're selling it in carton. So let's put it in carton. So let's create another one, which is wait. Let me be sure that it is not here. Okay, we don't have anyone that is called carton here. So let's call it Let's create our own carton. So let's go carts, and then under precision. So this is where it will determine. So if you put one here, it means you can only sell that this half carton as half carton. That is one. So you are not putting it, you are making it to be precise with the number. So we want it to be precise with the number. So let's leave it at this one. I'll also give you an example of when it is not precise. So we can go ahead now. This is where you can now do your bundling. This place is where you can now do your bundling. It says items included. Select items that you want to group and sell together as a package or set. So we want to group toma as a package, that is as half carton. So let's start with let's call it toma. So here we have toma. So under this toma here, we can now say half carton is 6 pieces. So we have wrote 6 here. So automatically half carton of toma is 6. But the total cost price of toma will be 18,000 naira. So let's let's just put the sell price. If you remember when we're putting the standard, doing the standard, we already know the total cost price, which was 3,000 naira. So this cannot be edited. So we'll go ahead to put the sale price. So let's say tomato is sold for 5,000 naira per bottle. So if you multiply it by 6, it will give you if you give you 30,000 naira. But instead of selling it 30,000 naira, because the person is buying half carton, we decide to reduce 2,000. So we're selling it for 2,000 naira. So instead of making profit of a certain amount of profit, we are going to be making less profit from it. If you are selling in one pieces, it will be, if you sell 6, you are going to make 30,000. But in half carton, you are reducing 2,000, so you are selling it for 28,000 naira. So you are still making 10,000 naira out of it. So let's go down and let's create this as a bundle. So let's create this as a bundle. So under our this thing, we're now going to have half carton of toma wine. So let's create a carton of toma wine. So let's go ahead, create carton of toma wine. So let's say carton of toma wine. So or we can just write carton of toma or wine. Let's just leave it this way. Then we go ahead, is under wine and gin, and then is it, so we're putting it carton. So selling it in carton. So let's go and search for toma, because it's the only item we want to include here. So if you want to still include other items you want to sell in bundle, you can search for them here also. So let's say you want to include beer. Let me just say you want to include star. Okay, I think I don't have these ones. Okay, let me look at the board. So okay, here you see we have beer drink Budweiser. We can add these ones too if you want to, but for here let's just leave it at this. So under this, it will be 12. A carton is 12 uh, bottles. So you see the cost price is 3,000 and 12 is 36,000 naira. So we have the sale price now. So let's say the sale price, if it is per piece, it is going to be 5,000 multiplied by 12, so which will give you 60,000. But if somebody is buying it in a carton, instead of that, we will now give him a discount. So you see, we give discount 2,000 naira for half carton. So let's give a discount for this one. Let's say we're giving discount for 10,000 naira discount. So we're writing 50,000 naira. So we're making 14,000 naira instead of about 20,000 or so. So this is what we have, and we'll now go ahead and create. So we're done creating a carton of this. So let's see how it will look like on the POS. So I'm going to show you how it will look like on the POS screen. So we have carton of toma. So this is it. Now we're going to go to the POS and see how it will look like there. So let's see the practical part of what we just learned now. So let's click on this money book, and then we're going to have log into our money book account and register. So here we have the, if you can check, see here, we have the carton of Toma wine, and we also have half carton of Toma wine, and we have Toma wine bottle. So let's say if we are going by the gin part, so now you see here we have carton of Toma wine, half carton of Toma wine, and Toma. So you can decide to buy a one bottle. So you can decide to buy one bottle, two bottles, three bottles, four bottles. You can decide to buy it as many as you want, or if you want, you can buy it in half carton. So here you see two of the half carton is 56,000. So let's say half carton, which is just one, you're not having it as 28,000 naira. But if you, the easiest way is just, if you click on the carton, you can decide to put so if you see here, we have one carton of Toma, and if you're buying 5 carton of Toma is 250. So this is how it is. Now when I will still go back and do some reshuffling so that you see how you can be able to just write only carton of Toma, and then you can divide it by the number of ways that you want to divide it. Instead of you to, because we put the unit price to be 1, you cannot be able to divide this into half, sell it like half. But if you put the unit pricing as 0.0, it means you can be able to divide this tomato to half. So instead of selling, instead of going ahead to write half carton here, you don't have to write half carton. You can just go ahead and then divide this one into 2. But because half carton, but because some businesses, the price of their half carton may not be the same as if as dividing the price of the full carton. So that is why here we are having it as a bundle, okay, so that the prices will be different. So in selling such products, you may have to either go through the category so that it will be easy for you to identify those products, so that I don't have to go and be looking at it. So you don't have to come looking at where is this one, where is that one. So you just click on this, go to the category, and then you can be able to identify those things. You can sell it either in pieces, in half carton, or in carton. And if you check, the prices are not the same. If this half carton now, if you multiply it by 2, so this half carton now, this half carton, if you multiply it by 2, is not going to give you 50,000, it's going to give you 56,000. So you see why we have to create the half carton separately. But if you are selling the price of the pieces the same as selling it in half carton or in big carton, if there's no any discount involved, then you don't necessarily need to have a half carton anymore. You can just put the unit price of this one to be 0.1, 0.5, so that 0.0, so that it will allow you to divide it into half carton, so that when you divide it, it will now automatically give you half carton. So now let's come back to our dashboard. Let's add item again. So we have deleted the carton of tomato and half carton of tomato. So let's go back and create another one with the unit pricing being 0.0. You understand? So let's click on carton of Toma wine. So and then under category is under wine and gin. And then let's go and let's create another one under a carton. Let's say this is carton, and the unit is let me just say CRT. So under the unit pricing, instead of choosing 1, we'll now choose 0.0. This will allow us to be able to divide this carton by half, so there'll be no need to provide half carton anymore. There's no need to say half carton. With this, you can be able to divide the carton by half and sell it as half carton. So let's go ahead and let's go for which one we're trying to sell. Toma wine, right? So it is this, and then we'll go ahead and write 12. That is a carton. So 1 carton of this Toma wine is there are 12 in quantity, and then we have the selling price. Say let's say is 60,000. This is because our cost price was 5,000 naira. So no, sorry, our selling price for pieces is 5,000 naira. So the cost price and the sell price for 12 will now be 60,000. So let's create this as this thing. And if we remember, we have this carton of wine here. Check this tomato here. We are having 120 in stock, and you will check when once we sell this carton of wine. Well, let's increase this stock. I think it's too small. Let's increase the stock, and let's make it to 1,200, which means 100 carton. So this is 100 carton, and then let's make this one this. So this is 10 carton. No, no, is it no that this is 48 48 carton. Yeah, so we have 100 carton here, and then here we have about 48 carton. Let's check and see this 240 divided by 12. Okay, sorry, 20 carton. So that is a mistake. So this is 20 carton, and this is about for 1,200. Well, we have about by 12, it will be 100 cartons. So here we have 100 cartons, and here we have 20 cartons. So once it reaches 20 cartons, it should give us an update. So now we are updating this. So I've added this stock. If you want to add stock, you can also do it through the stock adjustment, but this is another way. So if you have too many stocks, you don't have to come individually to add stock like this. So let's go ahead and check the dashboard how it will look. As I said, this is a carton of wine. We use unit pricing 0.0, so it will help us to be able to divide it into half so that we can be able to say half carton. You understand? So let's go ahead and go. Let's check it on the POS screen and see how it. When we are now back to the page, let's see how it will look now. Let's go to the all wine category, wine and gin, and see how it looks. So here we're having carton of Toma and Toma. So there's no need for half carton. So let's say you remember our stock is 1,200. So let's see how it will look like if the stock is going to reduce. We are selling this in carton, not in pieces. We are going to see how it will reduce. So we have two. Let's sell 2 cartons now and see. So we have this, and then let's also sell half carton. Sorry, we have already counted 2 cartons. So let's sell 2 cartons. So let's sell 2 cartons first and see how it will look like, whether the stock is going to reduce. So we are selling 2 cartons. It means we are selling about 24 pieces of Toma, but we are selling it in carton here. So let's click on this. So here we are having 120,000. So let's pay in cash. So it has already printed. So if you check here, we are having about 2 carton of Toma, carton of Toma, 2 carton. So let's see how it will look on our dashboard. That is on the admin account. Back to the admin account. So if you check here, we have about 200 in stock, right? So let me refresh this admin account and see whether it will update. So it's about 1,200. So let's see. We sold it in carton, not in pieces. So let's see if the pieces is going to reduce. So I want to see whether the pieces is going to reduce or not. So you check it here, you see it has reduced by 1,176. So that means the stock has reduced with 24. It's now 1,176 in stock. So that means it has reduced with 100 and with 24 pieces or 24 bottles of Toma. So let's check it and see 1,200 minus 1,176. So you see it has reduced with 24. So as you are selling it in carton, it is reducing in the pieces. So the more, if you sell 20, if you sell 10 carton, it's also going to reduce equivalence of the pieces in the stock. So that is how you can also remember. Now let's go back to the main page. So I was telling you something about having it as a day. So here we have this. So let's sell half carton of tomatoma. We can divide it by half. So you see now we are selling half carton of tomatoma. Now the half carton is now 30,000 naira. So if we sell it in half carton, now we are having it here. If we check out, you see we are checking out, is also going to show you this. So let's see how it will look like on the dashboard. Okay, so we are back to the dashboard. You see here the stock is 1176 in stock. So let's say 1176. So welcome back. If you can see, our stock has now reduced to 1170. So based on this calculation here,